Imagine a world where the office is more of a family living room than a sterile cubicle farm. It's late afternoon on February 15th, 1909. We're in Manhattan, inside the newly finished Metropolitan Life Insurance Building, a towering Italian Renaissance palace overlooking Madison Square Park. Sunlight filters through the massive stained glass dome in the central court, casting long geometric shadows across the marble floors. Most of the clerks are winding down, but for one 15-year-old office boy named George Spencer Millett, the workday is about to end in a way that will be etched into history. Literally. George is the department favorite, a radiant, fair-haired boy with what the papers will later describe as a perfect disposition. But today is his birthday, and in the unspoken social codes of 1909 New York, a birthday in the office comes with a price. A group of 6 young women, stenographers in his department, have spent the day teasing him with a playful yet inescapable threat. They've vowed that before he leaves for the night, they will give him 1 kiss for every year of his life. 15 kisses. George, shy and blushing, has spent the day dodging their jibes, laughingly insisting they won't get anywhere near him. As the clock strikes 4:30, the signaling of the day's end, the playful tension snaps. The 6 women rise from their typewriters and converge. George bolts. He's weaving between heavy oak desks and stacks of insurance applications, his laughter echoing through the hall. But then, as he turns a corner to evade his pursuers, his foot catches. He falls forward with a heavy thud. The room goes dead silent. The women stop, expecting him to spring back up, perhaps even more embarrassed than before. Instead, George let out a single chilling cry. "I'm stabbed." One of the women, 23-year-old Gertrude Robbins, rushes to his side, but as she sees the blood beginning to bloom across his chest, she faints dead away. The kiss of death was supposed to be a joke, but as George lies on the cold marble, it's clear this is no longer a game. Chaos that followed was a frantic blur of Edwardian panic. In 1909, the Metropolitan Building was a marvel of the modern age, but it wasn't equipped for a sudden violent emergency in the stenography pool. A medical doctor was summoned from the medical department, and an ambulance was called to rush the boy to New York Hospital. George died in that ambulance before it even crossed the threshold of the ER. At first, the story that hit the headlines was sensational and bizarre. The boy kissed to death. People couldn't wrap their heads around it. Was it the shock? Had his heart simply given out from the excitement? The police were just as baffled. They actually arrested Gertrude Robbins on a charge of homicide, theorizing that perhaps the struggle had turned more physical than anyone admitted. But as the autopsy report came back, the truth was far more tragic and mechanically precise. You see, George was a diligent office boy. In his pocket, he carried a common tool of his trade, an ink eraser. Now, forget the soft rubber rectangles we use today. In 1909, an ink eraser was a 6-inch long metal instrument, essentially a small razor-sharp knife used to scrape dried ink off thick ledger paper. When George fell forward in his attempt to escape the birthday kisses, the eraser was positioned upright in his breast pocket. The impact of the fall drove the sharp metal point directly into his heart. It was a freak accident of physics. A tool meant for correcting mistakes on paper had, in a single stumble, erased his life. The charges against Gertrude Robbins were dropped, but the stigma of the event stayed with the office. It was the ultimate office party gone wrong, a moment where the playful social rituals of the era collided with the sharp reality of the tools they used every day. The legacy of George Spencer Millett didn't end with the news cycle, though. If you travel to the Woodlawn Cemetery in the Bronx today, you can find a modest granite block in the lakeside section. It's a quiet, green corner of the city, far from the frantic energy of Madison Square. But when you look at the inscription on George's headstone, it stops you in your tracks. His parents, Cornelius and Carrie Millett, chose to record the exact strange circumstances of his passing for all of time. It reads, "Lost life by stab in falling on ink eraser, evading 6 young women trying to give him birthday kisses in office Metropolitan Life building." It's perhaps one of the most honest and oddly detailed epitaphs in the world. It serves as a permanent, stone-cold reminder of the day a boy's 15th birthday became a historical footnote. We often think of history in terms of great wars or political shifts, but the story of George Millett reminds us that history is also made of these small domestic tragedies. The skylarking in an office, the specific shape of a vanished tool, and a mother's decision to tell the whole embarrassing, heartbreaking truth on a piece of granite. It remains a singular event, a moment of joy that turned into a Final Destination-style tragedy before the term ever existed. It's a story that asks us to look closer at the ordinary objects in our pockets and the playful traditions we take for granted, because sometimes the distance between a celebration and a catastrophe is just one unlucky step. Share this story with someone who thinks their last office party was actually